Cloud. So again, hello everybody. This is on the right track. Raise, waving high. So we're all good here. We only got a couple more weeks, I believe. Well, the 22nd, actually next week, is when we're supposed to be done, I believe. We kind of wrapped this one up pretty good. Want to make sure everybody's okay. So if you haven't talked to us, did a one-on-one, I would suggest that you do just to make sure. Even if this was not the training you expected, at least it gave you an opportunity to get to know us. And as I've shared with other individuals that we have talked to, just because the training's over, that doesn't mean we go away. So you're as a small business development center client now, you're able to get us all the time on a schedule, of course, but all the time. When the class is over with, you still can communicate with us, tell us what's going on. If you got any challenges or anything like that, you can still reach out to us. So this doesn't mean the end. It is only the beginning of a lovely relationship, as they say. Just want to just some housekeeping stuff. Make sure you're doing your live plan or trying to get some stuff in there. If you do want the service scholarship, fill out that form, that link we gave you, and get that in by tomorrow. Because after tomorrow, I need to get all of the requests in so that the company, the consultant company, can start working on your request. Okay. And so I want to make sure we still have some scholarship money left. So if, for instance, something is not on the list that you think you need, send it to us because then I can work with the consultant to see if we can add something, or also send it to us just in case there is something, and if the SBDC will approve another consultant, then maybe we can help you that way as well. So just want you to know though, I need to get that stuff by tomorrow. Okay. So I need that by tomorrow. Tomorrow, end of business day, 5 o'clock. I need to have it. Also, you check the platform library. We put some more stuff out there. We have those Microsoft trainings. So Ria sent out an announcement if you're on our email list of all the Microsoft trainings that we have going on. So if you need some Microsoft training support and that kind of thing, check that out. And then also I sent a link today to you guys to tell you about the Franchise Expo. I went to a couple of presentations. In fact, I went to Charlie's Steakhouse. I don't know if you guys know Charlie's. There's one on Western, but Charlie's Steakhouse has been around for like 30 something years. And they actually did a presentation today, which was actually interesting for people that are interested in doing franchises with Charlie's Steakhouse. And they gave a demo that they have one person, he has 50 sites. 50. So it must be that it's not that expensive. They actually want to do a presentation and get some of our chefs and culinary people and people that are interested in fast food. They actually want to do a presentation to a smaller group, our clients. So they're asking if we can assist in helping to get some of our people on virtually so that they can do the presentation on how to open up a Charlie's franchise. Check out the Franchise Expo if you can. There's a whole bunch of them out there and a whole bunch of topics. The CBD one was full. There's a franchise for CBD. So that one was packed. Check it out. I think it's interesting. You might not want to do a franchise, but at least you kind of get the idea of companies that are already branded and are well known. Some people are doing really well with that. So I'm done. Go ahead, Rhea. I'm going to be on mute and we'll go from there.
All right, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's almost the end of the week, maybe. So thank you for coming again. So I want to start off by asking for some volunteers to see if anyone did our assignment, the 2 assignments I put out there. Does anyone want to start off by talking about their SWOT analysis? Did you get a chance to take a look at that?
I didn't get a chance to get to that yet.
Okay. All right. Anybody else take a look at their client base?
I see shaking heads, Rhea.
So that's a no. Okay, so let me share the screen then. And let's move forward. Okay. Let me get that right. I can share my screen. And let's make sure I can start here.
I did do something though.
Who was that?
Did that.
Okay, Babette, you're on. What'd you do?
Okay. Trying to get my website a more, trying to get my website set up. I'm still looking for that person to come through, but in the meantime, I was trying to figure out how to make it automated, so like when I have a website to do as least as possible with it, so one thing hit this and this, and I can have like a virtual, interview with people, and send them out what they need. They can pay right online. And then I can have a blog going, and I can send them based on what they send back. I can do drop ship with my products for rental or for sale. Some cases rental are a more appropriate scenario. It actually makes more money if you have a rental. And I figured out that I need to have a place for community, because each one of the sales for each one of the bigger sales for my company, people, a portion of a portion of the proceeds that my company makes, we're going to invest back in the community. And if they make a sale over a certain amount, then we can put their name on there as part of the giving back to the community too. It's sort of always giving back to the community as part of our formula, I guess you could say. And so we can make a big deal, I believe, out of that, and then get referrals from people from in the community, because then maybe their family's name can go up there and help in terms of helping people in the community, whether it's a community organization, youth group, primarily youth groups in particular, because we have a lot of problems with our youth, to have our entrepreneur program make money, and then we have to have y'all to have a program to help our youth. This also, I don't know, it sounds funny, but it's not, it's true, because business, instead of stealing from us, we're gonna be in a constant struggle. So that, I just thought that my business could do more of that. So I started looking at more of that. I started contacting my manufacturers in terms, and also my competition. So I guess that's kind of the SWOT thing of a few, because I'm only starting with a few products and a few services, but let that grow and people talk about it and see how we can develop some synergy. Okay, that's it.
All right,
I'm gonna shut up now.
That's
I don't
okay.
know. Can you understand what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part. What?
I was saying to see how we can develop some synergy in what we do, and also some notoriety to attract publicity in what we do, because this is the 30th year anniversary of the American Disability Act. There's been very little publicity about it, and we hope to be speaking at the UN in December about it, and want to make some big splash about that in terms of unveiling our products and services. Not a lot of them, but unveiling them, and hopefully then be able to attract more business.
Okay. So we'll talk about that a little later. I think some of the things that you and I have talked about, Bet, is somewhat related to what we call affiliate marketing, possibly network marketing, where you're looking for other people to participate in the sales of your products and services, and you will reward them
Yes.
according to what they're doing. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll get into that a little later, but thank you for sharing. Okay, anybody else before we start this evening? Can you all see my
You're
screen?
welcome. I love you all.
We love you right back. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. Ray. So we're in a part. So what I want to review for the learning objectives for today is we'll review the SWOT analysis to talk about that a little more. We'll discuss your customer profile. We'll go into some discussion about the goals and budget for your marketing plan. And then we're going to talk a little bit about website/online presence. So let's take a look at the SWOT analysis. Again, we talked about what your SWOT analysis really is identifying these quadrants, and you're looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And you can look at this from a variety of ways. You can look at it at a very general level, or you can look at your overall organization, or you can go drill down and look at it at a very granular level. My recommendation would you start high and just look at your organization in general, and then start to segment the different lanes or categories in your business. For example, look at your product. That might be the easiest one to start with, is what are the strengths and weaknesses, of my product and service? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? And then you can also look at it from a production standpoint. Remember, we talked about the 7 Ps that we had before. You can actually go through that circle and look at each one and determine where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. And when you're doing that, you're comparing it to, I would ask you to do it in 2 ways. I would ask you to do it internally and looking within and where you see, and externally comparing it to your competition in the marketplace. So let's just talk through the first one a little bit, strengths, and look at my overall organization to say, what am I known for? When people think about my company, do they understand what I'm known for? Is your business line clearly defined? If you're doing music, are you production? Are you a singer? Are you the talent? Are you the production side? So when I go to reach out for you for your business, is my information clearly defined? Do people know what my product or service is? That's one thing to look at. And if it's not, this is not something we have to make difficult. This is simply asking your friends and your clients, ask them a question and see what their answer is. What are we known for? And you'd be surprised. Ask them to tell you what you do, and to see what your answer is, and to see if that's what you thought the response was going to be. Another one is to take a look at what's your unique selling proposition. What makes you stand apart? What is the thing that sets you apart from your competition? What's unique about what you do? And the reason you want to look specifically at this is because you want to make sure that you're not just a commodity. When you start looking at a business from a commodity, that means I'm looking at you simply as price. I'm looking at 5 companies and I'm going to pick the lowest price. When you have a unique selling proposition, or what makes you unique, then I'm going to look at things other than just the cost of the goods sold or cost of the product. And that's something that you want to develop. Why would I, and if you don't mind me, I'm not picking on you, Rodney, but why would I choose you versus someone else? And I want to make sure that that's more than just cost. What's special about what you're delivering? Let's think of I'm trying to think of. Well, you talked about the franchise, but I'm trying to. Okay, let's use ice cream. That's easy. So if I've got brand, I've got Haagen-Dazs, and I've got, what's the other one? That's Ben and Jerry's. So when you
Yeah.
look at those two brands, they're unique. You know, Ben and Jerry's is definitely sets themselves apart from what their ingredients are, the quality of the ice cream, the healthiness of that. And then Haagen-Dazs is another high-end brand as far as another a product or service that another brand of ice cream. So you clearly understand if I'm going to purchase Haagen-Dazs, you're going to see the price tag is going to be higher, but you also know the quality of the product is going to be higher. So just make sure that people understand your unique selling proposition. One of the things that I told you, I was a former IBMer. So the saying with IBM was you always expected to pay more for IBM. Okay. And that's because it wasn't just the product, but it was the whole package that you were receiving. So, and the other thing that was always common when someone purchased IBM, the common saying was no one ever got fired for making an IBM decision, because they knew that they had not only the product behind them, but the whole corporation. So look at things from that unique standpoint. And what resources do you have readily available to you? What are your strengths? What is your some of the things we talked about before is one thing we often look at in the marketplace is we look at a large company and I'm going to take my background is technology. So you look at a technology company and they're subcontracting to individuals to bring into their organization. One of the things that we flipped the model when I was doing some technology was, as opposed to us being a subcontractor to an IBM or a Accenture, is to make an IBM or an Accenture or a subcontractor to us. So don't be afraid to reach out to a larger corporation or a larger set of clients and talk to them about capacity building, because everyone is looking to sell their products and services or place their individuals. And it's very, and you'll find that it's pretty easy to do it the other way than it is to have you be a subcontractor. Many large corporations, you got your terms and conditions, you've got your procurement, you've got to go through a long drawn out cycle to get vetted by that corporation to get on the list. But they'll quickly decide that they'll want to provide you a resource to be able to sub to you. So that's a way to think about how you can make your bench deep, how you can make your products and services available, and not have to just look at it's only one of me or two of me, and we can't fulfill this offering. So you want to start to reach out and develop that strength, and doesn't mean you have to use them, but it's nice to set those things up. I know, Rodney, we talked a little bit about you're getting things set up for the beginning of the year. You're going to maintain with the clients that you have now, but you're really putting things in place, as many of us are, to look at what we're going to do for 2021. So start to look at your relationships and start to get them in place. You may never have to use them, but it's great to have them before you need to use them.
So, Ria, I just
Mhm.
wanted to mention, with respect to what you just talked about in terms of using relationships, that one of the things that we've been trying to emphasize is that, we're all in this together, and that there's opportunities for like economies of scales on getting the same inventory items that we need for our businesses. And that, these co-op relationships can be very, very valuable in terms of, enabling you to get better margins and in essence compete with larger companies, because in essence then you're leveling the playing field by putting in large collective orders. So don't lose grasp of that. Okay, always keep that in mind, because when there's an opportunity to collaborate and everyone wins, that advances everybody, and that's what we want to achieve.
Absolutely. And some good companies that come to mind, print shops are really good at doing that, at collaborating and connecting with smaller companies, larger companies, and also as Ray said, you're looking at, for example, just procurement on what the cost of paper would be. And if multiple organizations came together and purchased the paper, they're going to get a lower cost per ream than if they were coming as a smaller organization or just one company. So that's something great to look at. Also want to look at the strengths is, what do our customers love about our product? Now, that choice of word is not by accident. I can like you, but what do our customers love about our product? And that's an emotional response. That's an emotional feeling. And think about, products that you, and it's funny where people look at love differently, but think about products I'd love to have that, or I'd love to, like the massager that the Tamora purchased that she sent me the photo of. I'm looking forward to loving to have that massager because it looks great just for what I saw. But just look at how you can elicit an emotion with your client as a strength, because we are emotional beings, some that more than others. But if that can compel me to do business with you versus just another, same one, I can get another one off the shelf. So look at ways that you can turn your offering into something that your product, it's an emotional response. I trying to think of something that I just, oh yeah, I have one. So I love my Surface. I have my new Surface book from Microsoft, and I love my Surface. Yay! And I've used, of course, being from technology, used a lot of different computers, and it was really important to me to make sure that I got this machine back, having used its predecessor. The other thing is, what are you doing that no one else is? This again is, what can you do to differentiate yourself? What one thing or one technique or some service, what am I doing? You're always looking to set yourself aside from someone else so that you're going to eliminate, if you can, the competition, but definitely lessen the competition, but because you offer a service in a particular way, and you could be doing the same thing as someone else, but it's how you offer it, how you deliver it, that makes the difference. Right? So those are some ways to look at your strengths and weaknesses. Your strengths. Weaknesses, what do our customers dislike about our product? The first thing you can do is ask yourself, what do you dislike about the delivery of your product or service? Or to be positive about it, what can make it better? But you want to find out, and if you want to do this in a survey format, you can always turn around to a positive and ask, how can we make our product or service better? You don't have to present it from a negative standpoint. It's written here, but how can we make it better? Where it says, what are we doing poorly? How can we improve? Again, make it a positive. You want to not come across to your, the people that you're reaching out that it's a negative, but saying, we always want to strive to be better and continue to grow. So how can we do this better? Then you want to look at your competition. What is the competition doing much better? Why are they doing much better? What are they doing better than you? So you want to also find out who your competition is. And the other thing is, sometimes we don't know our competition. One of the things you want to look at, even if they're companies that are doing maybe the same thing that you are, but sometimes you want to drill down deeper, and specifically a larger company, and find out a department in that organization that's doing what you're doing. That's also a way to look at it. Don't just look at that firm, but find out the specific. If it's a larger firm, they're going to have a line of business that does what you do, or they're going to have a specific department that does what you do. And you can, by looking, for example, we're talking about websites. So look at a large company that may offer as one of their products or service what you do, and then you can start to research at that level, at the granular level, and get some ideas, as opposed to looking at a company that's exactly your size, a like for like. you can drill down that way and find out more. And
So,
again,
so Rhea, before you move off weaknesses, one of the things that I've found is that, you know, weaknesses are usually evidenced by some kind of symptoms. You know, something's going wrong, or we need to do something. You know, we know that we've got a problem. And if you have multi products, that becomes a little more challenging, because in essence, sometimes you don't recognize that which of the products is causing you the problem that you need to overcome. And when you talk about, you know, what we need to do immediately, that's the priority of getting things fixed. And I always try to think about not just symptoms, but, you know, if I have different symptoms, are they really a result of the same root cause? And so that's something to keep in mind, you know, when you're trying to fix something, because if you're just reacting to symptoms without recognizing what's behind causing these symptoms, you're not going to really fix it. You're just going to move from one symptom to one other correlated symptom, and you're going to keep on going around chasing your tail and not getting anywhere.
Mhm. Thank you, Ray. That's good. The other piece here, when it says what resources do we lack, if you look back to our strengths, you know, you can turn that weakness into a strength by understanding what resource you lack, and then putting those resources in place, either for use now or for the future. What's the main area we need to improve on immediately? Let's focus on that immediately, because what that immediately brings to mind is when I'm going through my strengths and my weaknesses, make sure that you prioritize. Remember, this is a brainstorming session. So right now, these are just some samples of questions that you can ask. You can go on the website. There are any number of questions that you can ask yourself, but use it as a brainstorming. And once you write out those questions that you want to ask, go through and prioritize them so that you can start hitting the things that you think are most important to go after. From an opportunity, you always want to look at how can I create more opportunity? What are the opportunities that are out there so I don't meet them? What new opportunities in the market are becoming available? Take a look at your product or your service and take some time. This one is a really good exercise to just do on its own, to talk about how can I look at the product or service that I'm delivering and determine a new market for it. We talk a lot about right now about pivoting, you know, particularly with COVID. How can that same product or service be modified to be delivered differently? You know, we talked at the last session, Tamora talked about the you know, doing the taste testing to get clients, you know, for the food, to a way to get new customers to say, you know, would be interested in doing a taste test for me. So look at your product or service and look at it right now for what you're doing, and then take some time to figure out how can this be modified, how can it be adjusted, how can it be delivered differently, and that goes back again to those 7 P's. What can I do with this product or service to create a new market for myself or new clients for myself? How can that be rearranged? And also take a look at the market. You know, we're right in the middle of a perfect example of that. How is the market changing? You know, not everything, but almost everything all the time is online. So if I was in a position where my products or service were best sold face to face, you know, one-on-one, I've got to change. I've got to make that different. So, you know, always stay aware of how the market is changing, and also think about where the market is going. You know, we know that at some point we're going to come out of this, God willing. But let's look at what we need to do while we're here, but what possibly could come the next phase of that. You know, we're going to get out more, we're going to do different things. What product or service can you develop or adjust to support the changing market environment?
Right. Rhea, I wanted to add, I actually was looking at Channel 5 this morning. I think it's called something Good Day or whatever it's called. And they actually highlighted an entrepreneur, African American woman. I'm not sure what state, but she had a product already. It was like she has it's like bourbon or something, but she has it. There's tea or something. She calls it something. And she was already kind of like manufacturing or selling that. But then when the pandemic happened, because she had a kind of distribution center already, she started adding products. So she started adding, she started making hand sanitizer and bottling that. Then she started making other products. So she started adding on to her list of offering based upon what people were needing. And so she had the capacity because she had a distribution center and she also had employees. So in order to keep her employees staffed, in order to really get out there and keep her business running, and move beyond just her regular product. So I think she was doing candles. She started doing all kinds of stuff. But because she had the distribution center, that really helped her because then she could actually make the product. And so now she's making so much, she's making money because people are ordering online. She's actually then doing her product services or distribution out the distribution center, and then she's shipping it to people, and she's doing even better than when she was just selling her couple of products. She's doing even better now, because now she's added products onto her service, and she has the capacity because she was able to hire people and people are buying it and it worked for her. So she kind of did a pivot to the point she added services. So she didn't change what she does per se. She added additional products because she had the distribution center.
Yeah, that's really a great story, because when you think about what you just said, Tamara, this whole aspect of really, diversification that keeps you relevant. Okay. And so when you're challenged by not being relevant, you got to do something about it. And she found not just one solution, she found multiple solutions. And it all pivoted off of the fact that she had an existing distribution center that gave her that flexibility. So I mean, that's really, what you just elaborated on is really what people refer to as critical thinking. Thinking beyond, what's at the surface to so that you can come up with the best answers to the problems that you got.
Great. Thank you both. That's a good segue into this next point that says, what opportunities did we pass but are still available? So just how many people, and I used to do this, I don't do it anymore, but I used to keep a notepad by my bed, because I don't know if anybody wakes up in the middle of the night and has a thought. Okay, so I'm going to get back to doing that. But remember, this is all about brainstorming. So not only by your bed at night, but keep a notepad with you, a small, your wallet, your purse. Just always, when you're walking down the street, when you're engaged in something, and keep those notes and don't throw them away. You can, take them and transfer them to one big, notebook, or, put them on your computer, and then revisit them from time to time, because there's going to be opportunities that you came up with that at the point in time where you wrote it down, it might not have been an area that you could focus on. But it's good to revisit that again as the market is changing, as your product or service isn't growing, to say, this might not be something I want to do now, but it might be something for the future. So get in the habit of keeping those ideas current and looking at them. And it's always good to just take, particularly now, I think more so than other times, we have so many things going, we're trying to adjust to COVID, but it's good to take some time to step away and just be quiet and think, let your mind wander, step away from the activity of doing and just revisit the ideas, thoughts, the creativity, let your mind become creative. We get very much bogged down in the activity of the day, and we want to look at what was activity and what was productivity. And it's very productive sometimes to just take 15 minutes or 30 minutes away from the activities that I have to check off on my task list, and let your mind open up as a channel to bring new opportunities to you. And some ways you can do that is just pick a topic or just pick one area of business. For chefs, just think, breakfast. How many ways can I come up with a wonderful new breakfast, a wonderful new presentation for that, and see what comes to you, and write that down and have that be part of our next taste test session. The next thing is what would be the ideal opportunity for us. Again, we're brainstorming, where are we now? And we're doing the SWOT analysis. We're thinking, where are we now, but where do we want to be? And you always want to say, what's next? What's coming next? This is great, but we don't want to rest on our laurels. We don't want to get complacent. You don't want our clients to get complacent and say, well, when are they going to come up with something new and different? It's the same old thing. It's the same old packaging. What do they have new? One of the sites that I love is a site called Levenger. They have these folios, and I get these magazines, and I'm always looking, and they come out with, it's not a new necessarily product or service, but it's a new color related to it, or it's a new design, and they send these catalogs out quarterly. So I'm always on. I don't need anything. I just want to see what's new. I just want to see, oh, I like that color, or this is a little twist on that. So start to take a look at, what would be ideal opportunities for us, and how you can create, new opportunities for your client. And what is the competition ignoring that we can play to our favor? So think of these as gaps. Where is there a gap that you can fill? Where, if you're going to compare like to like or similar, look at the other organizations that you're comparing yourself to that say, here is a person that will come to me for this product or service. Here's my competition, and go through and identify what the gaps are. Then you're putting yourself in the place of the customer, and where do you see there are holes that you can fill, or what are they not doing? Also, what's good in this particular area, when we go back to that 7 Ps, is this is something that you might want to look at the process for delivery. What is the process by that product getting from me creating it to my client, and go through that whole process cycle of what it takes for me from start to finish. And then where is there a gap? Where can I enhance that? Where can I make that better? How can I make that better? Any questions so far? Okay, so let's talk about the threats. Who are our competitors? This was really interesting to me. I had an example with my IT company that, and it's really interesting. So we're looking at project management as an example for information technology, not so much coding, but project management, some training. And it's interesting that we found that we were looking for other technology companies to provide some of this service. And what we found, particularly in the area of aviation and the airport contracts, as the large contractors were being hired to do work, they had as a sub part of their contract, project management, not just for the construction piece, but for the IT part. So we never even saw this as an opportunity because it came out as a construction bid. So, and I say that to really look at the area of expertise, or area, the product or service, and try to find out where that might be provided in a different company, that you didn't even know was your competitor. So from the music standpoint, let's look at the advertising agencies. You know, we'll look at an advertising agency and really drill and see if that's a department that they have. You know, if that's a direct competition to you that you would never think about. And I say that because a bid may come out and you're just like, oh, that's not me, that's advertising. But in that bid, it could be, I need the music to go along with that. You know, I need a jingle to go along with that. A friend of mine, he does production for music, you know, with groups and everything, but he started doing jingles. You know, he got into the business of doing jingles and then he moved into that. And so you want to drill down and really fine tune and identify where your competition is. And then it's not always a direct hit. You know, you want to look indirectly to drill down to other organizations and see if somewhere in that product or service that you would never think of, they're providing your service as an in-house supply. That could also turn into an opportunity for you, because if that company or service, that's not their general line of business, but it's an add-on, they're probably subcontracting that product or service. So you could actually take what could appear to be your competition and turn it into an opportunity, because you could be their subcontractor. So they use you as opposed to you being a competitor, them being a competitor of you. So just you want to really, and one of the things that we haven't talked about the different areas, but I've done a lot of government contracting. Government contracts, so is an easy way to find things out because they're all public. So you can actually start going to these different sites. You can go to the city sites, you can go to city colleges and start to look at the RFPs. Start to see how they're bundled and then you can start to identify what you can start to, fine tune is, oh, I didn't realize they would bundle this together. I didn't realize they'd look at this as this type of commodity. And they're really creative as to how they categorize what the service is. So that's also a way to start to, and these people will talk to you because they want to do business, particularly with smaller companies, a lot with minority companies. I've talked to heads of procurement, and what they tell me is that people always go after the multi-million-dollar opportunities, and they have these smaller contracts that it's difficult for them to let because people don't want to go after a $25,000 opportunity. So if you talk to the chiefs of procurements or the procurement officers or the purchasers in these organizations, and you can get to learn how they categorize the product or service that you deliver, it might be different from what you're looking at in the specific marketplace. And it's good to find out how they categorize it, because it could be a way for you to find different opportunities and you didn't even know that's how they were presenting it. Okay. Has there been an increase in competition lately? So again, you're understanding and you're taking a look at what the market is. You want to follow the market. You don't want to be tied to it, but you want to always be aware of what's going on and what's making the market change. Where did it change? Why did it change? How is that a threat to me? Again, we have an easy one to look at: COVID. It's changed because we're doing things online. We're not out and about. We're not doing a lot of events. So you want to make sure that you pivot to support the market where it exists today. And what are the costs of our resources? What's a threat? Is it affecting our bottom line? Again, this is a pricing model. What is it costing you to do business, and what is your competition? What's the price? What's the like? And don't be afraid that your product or service is higher, but the reason for it being higher has to be there. I don't mind paying for a higher price if the quality's there, if the service is there. What I don't want is to purchase something at a low cost and it's going to be broken when it gets there. It's going to take me forever to get it. Is the quality of the product is not going to be there. I'm going to have to order another one in 30 days because this is only going to last me 30 days. So don't ever be afraid of pricing your product. What you just want to do is when you're doing that, go online. There are a lot of tools. I think Tamar has given you a lot of industry reports, and you can find out what the ballpark is on price. You want to be sensitive to the price. You don't necessarily want to be the lowest bidder in town, because then people start to question, why is your product, what's your cost? Why is your price so low? Is it any good? Am I getting something paper versus plastic? So and there are different courses that you can take on how to price your product and how to look at the pricing. So you want to understand, you don't want to make yourself too low, because you want to, once you start giving somebody a price, they're going to want to keep you there. So you just want to just really and that's an art in itself, pricing, just to find what the right price is for my service. Are customers buying less in our industry, and why? Again, what's the threat, and are my suppliers unreliable? So we're in a situation where, and this happens more often than not, when you have suppliers, you want to always try to have more than one supplier for your product or service, because if that supply chain fails, you can't deliver. So this is where you really want to go through and drill down, look at your supply chain and find out where the issues are in your supply chain. Do I need to have 2 suppliers for this, 2 suppliers for this? Because if that breaks down, and we had a situation where Tamar and I were working to find another supplier for one of the companies that the bottler delivered, their packager is what it was. The packager did not deliver their product correctly to the store, to the retailer, and they didn't have another supplier they could turn to. So it cost them a lot of money, cost them time, service to their client. So that's something you really want to drill down as much as you can. If you have a supply chain that has multiple points on it, you want to make sure that everything is duplicated as much as possible. Questions? All right. Let's talk about our client profile. Who knows their client profile? Everybody, right? No, nobody. I see the smiles. Do we know who our clients are, right? We just don't know their profile. And that's okay.
Correct. Yeah.
That's all right. We gotta know our clients.
Yeah.
We gotta-
Everybody should know their client.
Yeah, we know our client because they wrote that check for us. So we're good with that. But we don't know as much about their profile as we need to. And that's really what it is. And the good way to start that is just to create a survey. Just to create a survey to send to your clients and start to ask them questions related to, who are existing best customers. Start to look at who's your best customer and why they're your best customer. And then ask them. They're going to tell you, why do you keep coming back? Ask it. We don't want to think for them to go somewhere else, but what about my product or service appeals to you? Because I'm always looking to enhance it. And because what we want to do with that client profile, we want to find more of those people. So we want to find out why they came to us, what they're looking for, why they return to us, so that I can go find more of them. I want to duplicate that best client. And that's, and you want to really start doing that by asking the question, asking them to tell you. And you can make it doesn't have to be you might want to start out with what I call an open-ended survey. Just give them some white space. Just have them write down why they're doing business with you, as opposed to checking a box, because you really want to get as much from them as you possibly can, and you don't want to limit their answers. So if you can ask some very general questions and then drill down, and you'll see a lot of surveys where is you get asked the same question over again, but it's asked in a different way. So you can start to, and I'll look for you and put on the portal some examples of some customer surveys to create a client profile. But that's what we want to do, because our goal is to find the people that are buying from us and duplicate that. And then we talked about what new client program, I'm sorry, I can't talk tonight. What new client profile I want to create. And that could be if you're looking at developing or you have a new product that you're launching, what demographic is that product or service directed for? Okay, so, but what I'll do is, oh, we're short on time. I will look at some surveys and send that to you so you can start to send that out to your clients. Okay. We talk about developing a marketing plan. This is something that as small business owners, we have to really focus on doing. And it's not just a marketing plan that we have to focus on. We have to focus on planning. You know, we as small business owners, we're doing everything. You know, we're the head, we're the CEO, we're the mopper, we're the bottle. You know, we're putting the cabinets, everything on the shelf. We're doing everything. But you want to take some time. Remember, I talked about in the opportunity, let's take some time to think. Let's take some time to plan. And just I would recommend that you make this a part of your regular routine. You know, if it's once a week, once a month, you know, take a little time, not a lot, just to work on your plan, and then keep building on the plan. It's going to change. It's going to change all the time. It could be your business plan, your marketing plan, but revisit that, you know, once a month, every 6 months, and just, you know, see where you are, number one, against your plan, and see where your plan needs to be modified. And this talks about making your goals smart. And that's really when you talk about just making them specific. You know, your goals must focus on one clearly defined metric. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Make them measurable so that you know, did I reach my goal or not? You know, don't make them vague. You want to know if you hit the mark or you missed it. And if so, why did you hit it and why did you miss it? You know, make them aspirational. You know, your goals must push you beyond the results. You know, this is where we're going to be a visionary. You know, I don't want to just stay where I am. I want to strive forward. So push yourself to, you know, push outside of your comfort zone, as they say. But be realistic in the same breath. You know, what you don't want to do is set yourself up for failure. I don't want to make my goals, I want to make them aspirational. I don't want to make them unrealistic. So you want to be able to make your goals attainable, because what happens when we talked about that emotion, what happens when I, as an individual, attain my goal? I mean, that's a good attaboy. You know, I set a goal out there, I attained it, I succeeded. That gives you more confidence. So, you know, set realistic goals, and it's okay if start small. You know, don't beat yourself up to say, I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to reach I'm going to use the weight thing. But let's just say I'm going to lose 50 pounds. How about I just lose 5? How about I start with 5? And I start with 5 more, right? I'm good for that. I'm going to exercise 30 minutes every day. And I'm still looking at that exercise mat that I'm not going to get on today. I'm going to get on it tomorrow. But maybe I just need to start with, if I could just do 10 minutes, that might work. If I could do 10 minutes today, and maybe I'll just say, maybe if I get 30 minutes in for the week, you know, then I can start like that, right? Otherwise, I'm just looking at that yoga mat to say, why it's still rolled up there. It gets so bad that I have a treadmill in the basement that my dog was on my treadmill. He's like, oh, nobody's using this. I can just lay out on it, right? So set your goals so they're realistic, and give put a time limit on it. When am I going to attain this goal? By when? You know, is it going, and make it realistic. Don't give yourself 6 months to do something that you know you can do in 6 weeks, right? So make it attainable. And then you want to look at, you know, again, you want to create metrics. You know, and this talks specifically about marketing success metrics. So just real quickly, you know, if I'm spending dollars to do marketing, what is it costing me to generate a lead? What is it costing me to get a sale? What is my return on investment? I've invested in this new a piece of equipment because I want to do these types of operations or these types of services. What's the cost of that? How long does it take me to break even? How long does it take me to start to make a profit on my investment? Lifetime value of the customer. How much is this customer? How long has this customer been with me? And how much have they spent with me over the lifespan of them being a customer? And then you start to find out, wait a minute, this customer has been with me 30 days. They spent $600. This customer has been with me 2 years and they spent $600. So who's the best customer? The 30-day customer? Or, we have to think why. Just take a look at it. I'm not saying one versus the other, but start to understand what the lifespan of the customer has been for you. And your return on engagement. Here's an engagement I had, again, very similar to return on investment, is what did it cost me for this engagement and what is the return that I received? Okay, now any questions on that? I want to jump ahead to websites, because I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to make this quick, but we may go over a little bit if that's okay. So I want to talk about websites and online presence. The big thing was website. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a website, particularly in this day and time. What you want to do is understand the demographics of your audience. Maybe it's an online presence versus a website, because that could be a social media page, that could be Facebook, that could be Instagram, that could be LinkedIn, that could be the blogs we talked about. So what I really want to understand is, where am I going to find that customer? Where do they go to look for their products and services? Understand the demographics, understand the age. A lot of back in the, I don't want to say back in the day, but a lot of corporates, if you want to do business with corporate America, they want you to have a website. They want you for them to feel like you're legitimate. They want to see your website. That's not necessarily the case if your client is not corporate. If your client is, if you're a restaurant and you're trying to find people who are looking for a place to eat, maybe your platform is on a mobile app, because I'm looking to find out where I'm going to find a restaurant in the area that I can go eat. So that platform is a mobile app. LinkedIn page, you can have a page there to supplement. You can have more than one, but you want to figure out where your customer is, their primary point of reference is for buying products and services. And then the next page is and again, Rodney, you and I spent a little time about this, and websites don't have to be these huge 50-page deals. They can be one page that scrolls all the way down, or they can be multiple pages, but you want some key things to say about us. You want to tell them who you are. You want to have them be able to contact you, know how to find you. And you also want to be able to get to them. So that subscribe is important. The question came up last class is, how do I get that mailing list? How do I get that information? So one way is to have a place on your website or your online presence to say, if you want more information, or again, we talked about being able to provide information, education information, general information. If you want, you'll see a lot of sites that you go on and say, if you want this free ebook, and if you want this 2-page document, subscribe here and we'll send it to you. That's an easy way to get subscribers. Take something that you know, you're the industry expert, right? So write down information and put it out and say, if you're interested, I've created this for you. Don't give it to them free. Doesn't mean that they're paying dollars, but they're actually giving you their contact information for them to get that information so that you can then circle back to them. Okay. I wanted to show you one thing. I want to stop and pick something else up. Let's see, stop share. Let me go here, make sure I can do this right. Ta-da. Okay, share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see the screen? Okay, this is Greater Inglewood's website. And Rodney, this is what we were talking about when I talked about your line at you don't want your information to be below this bar. If you look at, if you can see my cursor, if you look at all the information about where I want to go on Greater Inglewood is below the break. I mean, it's above the break, right? The only thing below the break is subscribe here, and they'll scroll down to do that. But when I am, as we talked about how people look at websites, they're just they're perusing, they're going quickly. So when I go to a page, a landing page, I want to be able to go exactly where I want to go on that page. I don't want to have to figure out where it is, how to get there, learn more. I'm right here. You know, I can scroll down to the information. And that's one of the things we talked about when you're doing your web page. See how the background has a picture that's under the text. So I've got the text, I'm reading the text, or I can do the logo. If you look at the next page, it says, I see the logo, but I've got a photograph behind it. And that just makes it easier on the eye. So it's just not, you know, hard text with nothing. It lets my eye move, it softens it a bit. So those are I just wanted to show you just some examples of, if you start to look at some websites, you'll see that people put the pertinent information under the break. And you're not going to go there. You're going to keep looking, you know, particularly those who are you're searching. You want to be able to get as much information above this break as you can. Okay, it is 7:02. I know I kind of zipped through all of that. So sorry about that. Are there any questions? Let me just unshare this. Questions?
Rhea?
Yes.
I'll just say this. I've seen the SWOT analysis in textbooks and classes I've taken, but it was just that you had to come up with your own things for each one of those items in SWOT. That was like caveman proof. That's all I want to say.
Okay. All righty. Anything else? Let's see here. No, wait. I think there's some stuff in the chat. Okay. Questions?
So Ria, while you're looking at the chat, I just wanted to mention, when I think about competition and looking at it, there's 5 things I always try to consider, and they're real simple, but it's something that can be done, and it provides you with the answers you need. So you want to know who they are, you want to know where they're at, what do they do, what they charge, and most of all, you want to know how good they are. And so I found that, you know, by focusing in on that, it kind of helps you equate, you know, you know, in terms of their pricing, in terms of the prices they're charging, it'll help you distinguish why and support your prices that you're charging. So it kind of gives you a perspective on what others are doing, so that you can be able to have conviction in the prices that you're charging and know that people are going to be getting the value that they deserve.
Okay.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree. So everybody's good tonight?
So I have one comment I want to add. I see a lot of comments that say, yes, I know the clients. So I'm going to send you some surveys so that you can send to your clients, and I want to see your response after they return the surveys to see how, and it's not, we know who our clients are, but what we want to find out are more about them, to understand their buying trends, what their needs are, what their wants, what their desires are, so that we can continue to enhance our products, develop new products, because we may be able to, based upon what they're looking for, we may be able to develop an entirely new product line to support them.
Okay.
Okay.
Rhea,
Yes.
real quick. So I don't have a lot of music production clients. It's only been for myself, but I do have a lot of band leaders and vocalists who've hired me for live performance. So I'm going to do that survey with that base.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a client.
As a client, yeah.
That's a client. It might be in a different area that you're looking at, but it's a client. And you want to definitely, it's really just about the more information that you have, the more you have in your arsenal to figure out what you can do and what you can use it for. And then it's also, when you're reaching out to your clients, you're building a relationship, because you want to make your clients relationships versus transactional. And if somebody's asking me what I like or dislike, what I want, I just have a tendency to want to do business with that person more than somebody didn't care whether I bought again or not. Or maybe they do care, I just didn't see the effort. So, and I know it's hard because we have a lot of things going on, but you really want to turn those clients into relationships. And then what you want to do is you want to create a relationship with that client so that you can start to create relationships with the people they have relationships with.
It's called a referral program.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Okay, everybody, great session tonight. Thanks for joining in. Hopefully, we're gonna hope you have a great weekend. And of course, we'll send you the recording. We'll send you information, or we'll put it on the portal. We'll try to email it too, so that you can be working on your SWOT analysis and also working on what Rhea talked about in, surveying your clients for this. So if no other questions or comments, we'll end for tonight, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Love, 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 love.
Love, love.
Thanks.